Okay, picture the scene. It's the absolute chaos of a reality TV set. You've got the blinding flash of cameras. You've got this dramatic string music swelling in the background, producers shouting, and then that heavy final sound of a door slamming shut.
Your attention. High drama.
And usually when that door closes, it's the beginning of the end. I mean, we all know the stats. We have seen the wine throwing, the cheating scandals, just the absolute carnage that follows a season of Married at First Sight.
It's basically a law of physics in the entertainment world at this point. The fame half-life of a reality star is just, it's notoriously short.
Yeah.
You get that explosion of attention, the intense public scrutiny, and then just silence. Or, worse, a very public, very messy breakup played out for sport.
Exactly. Most of these couples just crash and burn before the reunion episode even airs. They're destined for, what, a few months of selling teeth whitener on Instagram before they just fade away?
Digital obscurity.
But today, we are flipping that entire script. We're looking at a story that defied every single one of those statistics. The headline for today's deep dive is, "Their MAFS life crumbled." Or so we thought.
But here's the twist. It didn't crumble. Not even a little bit. Instead of falling apart, they built an absolute empire.
And we are not just talking about a successful romance here, even though that's like the foundation of it all.
No, we're talking a major theater career, a thriving brewing company, high-stakes real estate flips, and a family life that feels, honestly, refreshingly authentic.
Welcome to StarScope Report. Today we are peeling back those glossy layers to find the real story behind the ultimate success story of Married at First Sight Australia Season 8, The Intruders, Johnny Balbuziente and Kerry Knight.
And this story, it really challenges the cynicism we usually bring to these shows.
Yeah.
So let's set the stage. We have to go back 5 years. It's 2021, Season 8 of MAFS Australia.
Oh, that season.
And for anyone who remembers it, chaos is, well, just putting it lightly.
It was so intense. I remember that season so vividly. You had the whole Bryce and Melissa drama just dominating every single headline. The toxicity levels were off the charts. But then halfway through the experiment, the experts introduced the intruders. Now, usually this is just a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
No, it's a specific production tool, right?
Yeah.
It's designed to disrupt the group dynamic. I mean, think about the psychology. You bring in a new couple when the original cast has already bonded or, formed their little cliques.
Oh, right.
So psychologically, it puts the new couple on the back foot immediately. They lack that bonding time, they're outsiders, and statistically, intruder couples have a really high failure rate. They're just playing catch-up from day one.
Yeah, they're walking into a room where everyone else already has inside jokes and these, established alliances. But then walks in Johnny Balbuziente, a theater producer from Queensland.
And Kerry Knight, an occupational therapist, also from Queensland.
And get this, they didn't know each other, but they lived in the same state.
Which is actually a pretty big factor in the matching process. The experts, John Aiken, Mel Schilling, and Alessandro Rompola, they paired them based on shared values, not just to create a powder keg for the ratings.
Right.
Kerry was described as fiercely independent. She'd been married before. So she had this, pragmatic view of what marriage actually takes.
And Johnny had these deep family values. So in a season just defined by screaming matches, they were the calm.
They really were.
And the chemistry, it was instant. I mean, you watch these shows and usually it's just so much awkward silence at the altar.
So awkward.
But with them, it was like they'd known each other for years. They just clicked.
Immediately.
But the real test isn't the wedding, right?
Yeah.
It's what happens when the cameras finally stop rolling.
That is the critical moment. We call it the decompression period. It's when the cameras leave, the producers stop prompting you, and you have to actually live together. And this is usually where geography just kills the relationship. You go back to your separate lives, and the spark, it just fades.
But Kerry moved from the Sunshine Coast to Brisbane to live with Johnny in June 2021, almost immediately after the show finished airing.
That's a huge move.
A huge move,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively. I mean, she packed up her life and went all in. That's a high-risk strategy. If it fails, you're just stranded in a new city with a broken heart.
It signaled that this wasn't for the gram, This was for real. They skipped that whole long-distance longing phase and went straight to building a life.
Integrating their friends, their families.
Exactly. And that integration is usually what separates the showmances from the real deal.
And boy, did they build it. But hold on, because they didn't just survive the reality TV curse. They survived a massive home renovation, opening a brewery, and a little incident involving a stolen hotel room artifact.
I love this story.
Stay tuned, because the story of what Johnny stole from the set with the butter knife is, well, it's honestly iconic.
It really is. It says so much about them. But before we get to the butter knife, we have to talk about the milestones. Because in the reality TV world, timelines are usually so accelerated.
Right.
But Johnny and Kerry, they managed to pace this perfectly.
Okay, let's fast forward to July 2022. Picture a sunset boat ride on Sydney Harbor.
So romantic.
It wasn't a paparazzi setup. It just felt intimate.
Very on brand for them.
Yeah.
Romantic, but, controlled. It wasn't some chaotic publicity stunt. The announcement got over 50,000 likes, which just shows you how invested people still were a whole year later.
And then the real wedding happened January 5, 2023, at Chow Papi at the Howard Smith Wharves in Brisbane.
And if you look at the guest list, it wasn't just them. You had other MAFS royalty there, like Jules Robinson and Cam Merchant.
Oh, that's a really interesting detail.
It is. It cements their status in that, success story clique. It creates this kind of secondary social tier of reality stars who've actually made it work, and they all support one another.
It validates their whole narrative.
Totally. You're not just reality stars anymore. You're part of this exclusive club of survivors.
But the biggest milestone, and probably the most emotional one, came in January 2024. They posted a photo with their dog, Enzo.
Who is adorable, by the way.
So cute. And they announced baby B incoming. But there was something about the caption that really stood out. It wasn't just, hey, we're pregnant.
No. The caption read, "Our journey took a bit longer than we'd hoped." And that one line, it does so much heavy lifting.
It really does.
It acknowledges fertility struggles without being overly dramatic about it for clicks. It makes them relatable. They're not just these polished, perfect influencers.
Yeah.
They're a real couple who faced a real, very common struggle.
It changes how the audience engages with them. You stop rooting for them because they're cute, and you start rooting for them because they're human.
Exactly.
And then on June 14th, 2024, Chloe Rossi Balbuziente arrived. Johnny described himself as proud beyond measure.
And here we are, January 2026, we're approaching Chloe's second birthday.
Yeah.
They're still legally married. They're parents to a toddler. They're living their best life.
They are a statistical anomaly. I mean, one of only a handful of couples across more than 11 seasons to get a lasting legal marriage and a family.
It's rare air they're breathing.
So if you love hearing about reality stars who actually make it work against all the odds, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have deep dives on the survivor couples coming up next week, and you will not believe some of those connections.
But what I find most fascinating isn't just the romance, it's the business side of it all.
Oh, absolutely. This is where they really, really separate themselves from the pack. Usually you go on reality TV, you quit your job, and you start selling, diet tea or fast fashion on Instagram.
Right, the influencer pivot. It's low effort, high reward in the short term, but it burns out so fast. Johnny and Kerry did something very smart. They didn't quit, they doubled down. They used the platform to accelerate their existing careers instead of replacing them.
Yeah.
They diversified.
Let's talk about Johnny first. He's in the arts, right? That is not the typical path for a reality star.
No, not at all. He's a leader at Shake Stir Theatre Co in Brisbane. And this isn't some small community theater. This is a major company. He oversees their in-school touring teams. But the really meta moment came with this production called Forthcoming that ran in 2023 and 2024.
I think I read about this. Was it an interactive rom-com?
Exactly. A choose-your-own-adventure play where the audience voted on their smartphones to decide the plot. Johnny starred in it. And it kind of poked fun at modern dating and, implicitly, his own reality TV past.
That's brilliant branding.
It's genius.
Yeah.
He took the thing he was famous for dating on camera and turned it into legitimate art. He controlled the narrative.
So instead of running from the reality star label, he leaned into it, but he elevated it. And he's still doing it, right? I mean, as of 2026, he's involved in tours for Roald Dahl adaptations.
Yeah, The Twits. George's Marvelous Medicine. He's a series producer. And Kerry is just as impressive. She kept her job as an occupational therapist.
She didn't leave the healthcare field.
No, but she specialized in ergonomics.
And here's the synergy. She partnered with a furniture brand, Satara, to advise on ergonomic home office setups.
See the difference there? She used her influencer status to boost her professional credibility, not replace it.
Yeah.
She's not just holding a product. She's saying, as an occupational therapist, this is why this chair is good for your back.
It's a much more sustainable model. It's based on actual expertise, not just popularity.
Totally. But they didn't stop there.
No. They decided, hey, let's open a brewery. Because, why not?
The Caxton Street Brewing Co. They opened it in 2023 with partners. It took over the old Fritzenberger site in Petrie Terrace, Brisbane.
And this isn't just some name-slap deal where they put their name on the door and walk away.
No.
They have 1,000-liter tanks on site. They're brewing quirky stuff. I read about a Ribena Sour Helles-style lagers.
A Ribena Sour is certainly a bold choice.
Yeah.
But look at the asset class. It's hospitality. It's tangible. It's real estate and it's inventory.
Good point.
If Instagram disappeared tomorrow, they still own a brewery and a theater company. That's financial resilience. They move their wealth from, digital attention to physical assets.
It really is building an empire, brick by brick.
Or, in their case, pint by pint.
Speaking of bricks, we teased it earlier, they have a secret history involving a butter knife and a piece of stolen property from the MAFS set. We're going to uncover that detail. And their multi-million-dollar real estate flip right now.
This brings us to the empire part of the whole equation, asset management.
Right. So in 2022, they buy this Queenslander-style home in Wavell Heights for about $1.3 million. And apparently, it hadn't been updated since 1973.
A classic fixer-upper, which is a very common strategy for building wealth, but to do it while raising a newborn and running businesses is, well, it's ambitious.
And Kerry led the renovation. They went for this coastal chic vibe, sage green tiles, gold hardware, a black clawfoot bath. It sounds like something out of a magazine.
And this is where the personal brand integrates with the asset again. By documenting the whole renovation, they create content, they engage fans, but ultimately they're increasing the value of their physical asset.
They're double dipping on the value. But my favorite detail about this house is not the sage green tiles. It is the kitchen door. Tell everyone the butter knife story.
Okay, this is a hilarious insight into their time on the show. During the open house inspections, when they were selling the place, buyers noticed this gold nameplate above the kitchen door.
And it looked official.
Because it was official. It was the actual nameplate from their hotel room during the MAFS filming. Johnny famously pried it off the hotel door with a butter knife to keep as a souvenir before they checked out.
That is the ultimate romance move. I love you so much, I'm going to commit some petty vandalism to remember this moment.
It creates this narrative anchor in their home, right? It reminds them and everyone else where they started. But practically speaking, the renovation was a massive success. They listed it in August 2024, shortly after baby Chloe was born, and sold it by late September.
They sold it to move to Ascot, which is a pretty posh suburb in Brisbane, because they wanted a pool and to be closer to family.
It's the classic property ladder climb. Buy, renovate, flip, upgrade.
Yeah.
By 2026, they have established themselves not just as TV personalities, but as savvy property investors. They're playing the long game.
It's so impressive. They have ticked every single box. Marriage, baby, business, real estate. And if you love a good real estate flip story, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our breakdown of the biggest celebrity property moves of 2026 coming up later this month.
So if we zoom out and look at Johnny and Kerry in 2026, what do we actually see?
We see a couple that just completely beat the odds. They're legally married. They have toddler Chloe running around. They own Caxton Street Brewing. They are leaders in the art scene.
And the reason it worked is so crucial. They didn't let that crumbling narrative of reality TV define them. The title of this deep dive, Their Amass Life Crumbled, is ironic because the only thing that crumbled was the expectation that they would fail.
They used the platform to accelerate their real passions: theater, occupational therapy, hospitality, rather than just becoming famous for being famous.
Yeah.
They didn't just want to be seen, they wanted to build.
And that raises a really provocative question for us as, consumers of this content. In a world where reality TV couples are almost designed to explode for ratings, where we tune in for the wine throwing and the screaming matches, is the boring couple actually the most radical thing you can watch?
That is a great point. Maybe stability is the new punk rock.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Watching two people actually like each other, support each other's careers, and build a life, that's the twist no one ever sees coming.
And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.